The first time that DC brought the Suicide Squad to the big screen, things didn't exactly go according to plan. A shoddy plot with CGI stuff and Jared Leto Joker derailed David Ayer's promising-looking DC debut. Now though, the squad is back, this time headed up by Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn. Ostensibly given the keys to do just whatever the hell he wanted to do with DC's Dirty Dozen, Gunn's plainly titled follow-up, The Suicide Squad, has looked even more promising than the first did before its release, boasting a gigantic cast, an irreverent tone, lots of bloody violence, and even sliced alone as a giant talking shark god. Yep, I love it. And how is the Suicide Squad, you might be asking? Well, the answer is bloody brilliant. Gunn has delivered a big screen adaptation truly worthy of the legendary John Ostrander run of the 1980s, replete with hilarious dialogue, colourful characters, and even some punchy commentary too. I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture, and here's our spoiler-free review of The Suicide Squad. Now, for those curious, no, The Suicide Squad is not a direct follow-up to the 2016 film. It has nothing in common with that movie except some elements of the cast, and works more than fine as a self-contained story, so don't worry about having to see the 2016 film if the thought of doing that puts the fear of God in you. And again, this review will be spoiler-free, but I know some people will appreciate some context, so here we go. The film focuses on Task Force X, an off-the-books government-run Black Ops program led by Amanda Waller, played yet again to chilling perfection by Viola Davis. The Suicide Squad, as it's also called due to the perilous nature of the team's missions, is comprised entirely of DC supervillains interned at Bel Reve Penitentiary, who get given the choice to either serve the rest of their lengthy prison terms or have said sentence reduced upon completion of a given mission. Any deviation from Waller's orders will also result in their deaths thanks to some handy explosives placed in the back of their necks. Right from the off, we get introduced to all the new squad members who are then dropped right into the thick of it in Corto Maltese, a fictitious Latin American island that's harboring an extraterrestrial threat. The mission? Find and destroy the project at any and all cost. It's a simple enough premise, but it doesn't need to be elaborate. Gunn has frequently referred to this film as a war movie straight up, and it more than fits the bill, with Kelly's heroes an obvious influence, and if you haven't seen that film, please do, because it's a classic. The lack of any kind of intricate narrative also ensures more time is devoted to fleshing out the backstories of key squad members, with Idris Elba's Bloodsport the main anchor. Bloodsport is great, and it's a testament to Elba's performance and the inventive approach towards the character's weaponry that he isn't outflanked by the squad's obviously more colourful characters. Other highlights from the troupe include Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2, plus her lovely rat sidekick Sebastian, who is just wonderful. Like, if you put Remy from Ratatouille in an R-rated war movie, that's essentially what you have, except no Patton Oswalt. And also, David Dastmalchian's Polka Dot Man is brilliant too. The effects they have with his actual polka dots, brilliant. John Cena must absolutely be singled out for praise as well, because he is great as Peacemaker, a sort of jingoistic supervillain who has some great back and forth with Bloodsport because they both essentially have the same abilities. From watching the film too, it's easy to see why he's spinning off into a series of his own on HBO Max. All that said, yet again though, my absolute favourite of the bunch has to be King Shark, a cuddly terror fish who must be protected at all costs. Stallone really doesn't get that much to do with the role, but what he does do is absolutely glorious. So yeah, all the new cast absolutely nail it, but I also want to single out Margot Robbie for particular praise here as well. Birds of Prey reiterated just the other year what a great choice she was to play Hal, and she arguably gets even better material to work with in The Suicide Squad, maintaining Quinn's chaotic self even during those brief moments of vulnerability. The other returning cast members from that first Squad movie are all elevated by Gunn's script too. Joel Kinnaman's Rick Flag, the most obvious highlight. He goes from being just a sort of generic military strongman to someone who struck up a real rapport with the Squad this time around, and I for one was pleasantly surprised by just how much I ended up enjoying and caring about his performance. The Suicide Squad is a proper character-driven story, but it also packs in some salient commentary in its third act, with Gunn satirizing both Hollywood's jingoistic elements and even some aspects of US foreign policy too. I won't go any further for the sake of spoilers, but just know that the film isn't completely irreverent. There's a good balance between pathos and levity that the marketing hasn't really let on so far. But speaking of levity, it's fair to say that the Suicide Squad made sure to get plenty out of that R rating. The film is bloody as hell, and the obscene nature of the violence serves to emphasize the absurdity of what's going on. Trailers and posters have warned audiences not to get too attached to any of the characters in the film, and when it comes to some of them kicking the bucket, I found myself reacting with like a sort of pained laugh. Like, genuine sadness that they're dead, but also, oh my god, that injury is ridiculous, I love it, kind of a way. In regards to the violence, some people might find it a bit excessive, and I am kind of the opinion that it sucks that there doesn't seem to be too many comic book movies made for kids these days, but whatever, it fits the tone, it's gloriously over the top in all the right ways, and illustrates another way the film isn't just your average, ordinary, cookie-cutter comic book adaptation. The action itself is also intense and well choreographed. Bloodsport gets the lion's share of cool moments in the film with his unique weaponry, but Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, and Harley Quinn all get their own really cool set pieces too. Plus, when it comes time for King Shark to step up, Gunn makes sure to revel in the carnage, showing him wolfing down enemies in a few bites, ripping them apart, or even just decapitating them too. Which is of course balanced with him being all cute and friendly. Like, every fiber of my being is telling me not to hug this guy, but also I absolutely want to give him a hug. Let me hug King Shark, god damn it, Warner Brothers. Let me hug him. Please. And yeah, there's not really much else I can say without delving into spoiler territory, and I absolutely don't want to do that because the less you know about the plot, the better. I will say though that Starro, now fully revealed by the film's promotional material, is a real treat to see on the big screen. Like, can you imagine the DCEU going anywhere near Starro 5 years ago, let alone in a Suicide Squad movie? And yet he's here. The big purple alien starfish is here, putting his spores on dudes' faces, and it's hilarious and scary at the same time. Like, I don't know, if the Suicide Squad came out 10 years ago, Starro would probably be an acronym for some weird kind of government program for mind control or something, and there'd be an evil scientist or businessman wearing a purple suit. Just thank God these films can now just have fun and not be ashamed about including a giant talking shark or a psychic alien starfish. It's a great time to be a comic book fan. This actually segues quite nicely into costume design too, because Gunn has made sure to cite John Ostrander's comics as being a key influence, and the film is just as colourful as they were, with Flag wearing his signature yellow top, Harley getting a Live Fast, Die Clown jacket, which is just brilliant, and everyone else in the cast looking bright and colourful in their own outfits. They look like supervillains rather than like they're about to hit the runway in some boutique sportswear. And that is great. Yeah, to wrap things up, I think I can say with a high degree of confidence that The Suicide Squad is the best live-action DC movie since The Dark Knight, and the high point of the DC Extended Universe thus far. It represents what can be achieved when you don't poke and prod at a creator with studio interference and poor music choices, as well as the benefits of poaching your biggest rival's talent at the first possible opportunity. The violence might border on the excessive at times, and it might even overstay its welcome ever so slightly during its more indulgent moments, but The Suicide Squad is genuinely class, and more than lives up to the hype. That's what I'm gonna give it 4 4.5 stars out of 5. And that was our review of The Suicide Squad. Have you seen the film yet? If so, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to What Culture so you don't miss another upload going forward. I've been Ewan. Catch me on Twitter running my own personal King Shark fan account at Ewan Ruins Things, and I will see you next time. Bye!